Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hobart begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, it's been described by police as one of the most confronting scenes ever faced. A 4-year-old boy killed metres from his family home after being fatally struck by a garbage truck. Questions remain over what caused the tragedy, but answers aren't expected anytime soon.
On this quiet suburban street, a young life was today cut short before it truly began.
This is an absolute tragedy for everybody concerned.
The 4-year-old boy was riding his bike outside his home on Bishops Drive in Newnham when police say he was hit by a passing garbage truck. He died at the scene.
The driver of the truck was exceptionally shaken up and I would suggest in shock.
The circumstances surrounding the tragedy are unclear. A thorough investigation is now underway. However, authorities admit it could take months.
There are witnesses to be interviewed. We do have footage from the truck.
The head of the investigation says almost all officers that attended the tragic scene were visibly and emotionally rattled by what they were faced with. The internal counselling process has already begun.
I would say this is the most confronting that I've attended in 25 years.
But how do you console a family tonight coming to terms with an unthinkable new reality?
Yeah, I don't have any words to describe how upset they are.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
A 47-year-old Waverley man charged with the murder of a former government driver has pleaded not guilty. Robert Gerard was arrested in bushland near Reedy Marsh a fortnight ago in relation to the suspicious death of 69-year-old Mike Hawkes. It came after the suspect evaded police capture for close to 48 hours. He will now stand trial in the Launceston Supreme Court later this year. A 54-year-old Launceston man is in police custody after a late-night stabbing incident between 5 men. The altercation, which took place on Coupania Street, left a 27-year-old in a serious but stable condition with lung injuries.
Investigations reveal that the parties are known to each other, and last night there was some fireworks or something similar being let off in the Rocherley area that led to the parties confronting each other.
The victim was transported to the Royal Hobart Hospital for treatment, where he remains in a serious but stable condition. Police have charged a 35-year-old man over a shooting at Kings Meadows last year. The alleged incident saw a 44-year-old man shot in the pelvis at his home in March. A St Leonard's man has been charged with a string of offences, including wounding and aggravated assaults. With Tasmania's ban on rental evictions ending on Sunday, a range of new short-term supports are on the way to help struggling tenants and landlords. It's welcome news for many, but there's already concerns the change will force rents to skyrocket.
Now a rare sight, rental signs scarce as our housing market dries up. Under COVID emergency provisions, evicting tenants and upping rents was banned. But on Sunday, that comes to an end, replaced by new arrangements.
The government will extend the financial support already offered for residential tenancies, and will also offer an extra round of support for tenants and landlords.
That change designed to help the transition back to normal rental arrangements over the next 2 months. Landlords can also recoup remaining rental arrears from the emergency period.
One particular segment of the economy can't keep funding other segments of the economy. Sooner or later those bills really need to be paid, and I think it's just unfair, unjust to have landlords footing the bill.
It's overdue. This is absolutely the time. If anything, it's a bit too late. The last extension was unwarranted, let alone another extension.
The extra help also welcomed by the Tenants' Union, but it now concerns come February 1st, rents will skyrocket.
There is a 60-day waiting period. Many landlords have been aware for months that the moratorium was going to end at the end of January, and those rent increase notices have in many cases already been sent out.
It's going to potentially be a free-for-all for rent increases and evictions during a global health emergency. This is unjustifiable and it is shameful.
The government confident that's not the case.
There are strict rules around rent increases and when they can apply. In relation to rent increases, there needs to be 60 days notice.
If you have been and you can demonstrate you've been impacted by COVID, then you should be supported so that you aren't thrown out onto the street. And I think that's what all Tasmanians would want.
Emergency supports will come back if Tasmania experiences a second coronavirus wave. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, housing finance remains Tasmania's only weakness, according to the latest CommSec report. Figures show the state is the country's top economic performer, leading in 4 of the 8 key indicators, including retail spending, which was close to 25% above average. Western Australia and Northern Territory scored the poorest in the report. 2 Tasmanian state service workers have been stood down following allegations of sexual abuse. The separate claims against the employees from the state's north have been referred to police. No detail has been provided on their age, gender or employer. The state government has reaffirmed being stood down is not a sign of wrongdoing. The 2019 Huon Valley bushfires wiped out some of the tallest trees in the world, but one has been now brought back to life. Artists have used augmented reality to recreate Geeveston's big tree, hoping it will help draw tourists back to the area.
Bringing one of the Huon's fallen giants back to life. The Arv big tree was more than 500 years old and stood 87 metres tall. Now tourists have the chance to experience it once more in all its glory through augmented reality.
Well done, everyone.
The tree had survived several bushfires, including in 1967, but succumbed to the 2019 Huon Valley blaze.
It was a very sad moment, to be honest, like losing a member of the family that has been around for generations.
For locals, those fires are still fresh in their minds.
It was the long weekend in January. We had heaps of bookings. Everything was going along rosy. Then the police closed the bridge at Huonville and all the bookings got cancelled.
And business had only just begun to bounce back when COVID struck.
It's up and down, but Tasmanians have been fantastic, travelling around their own state.
Now the region is branching out to bring tourists in.
But we expect that public art work to be really significant in driving visitation back down into the Huon Valley as well.
The detail around the base of the tree is incredibly lifelike, and that's because a scan was taken of the giant around a year and a half before it fell.
It really was like experiencing the tree itself. And to the point where there's moss growing on the trees.
When you look at the tree in augmented reality, it is a perfect exact replica, including the height and so forth. And we spent a lot of time trying to make sure that the flora and fauna around that area matched that too. So it literally is an exact copy of the tree.
Allowing people to experience the tree for generations to come. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian dog owner is living a nightmare after her pet disappeared while travelling between the state and Melbourne on board the Spirit of Tasmania. Esther the Doberman was below deck in a travel cage when Holly Alexander was told by a security guard that she'd escaped. There's been no trace of her on board the ship. Ms Alexander is praying Esther has left in another car and is pleading for anyone who's seen her to contact TT Line. Construction is underway for Longford's new police station. The station was originally planned to be completed by mid-2021 but has been pushed back to the end of this year.
It's about a $5 million project as mentioned, so it's a large-scale project and a 12-month build, which is it's an exciting project.
So this is a contemporary facility which will improve opportunities for our police to do their business better.
The new site is located on Peel Street, 3 kilometres south of the Longford Centre. The Hobart Hurricanes have missed this year's Big Bash finals after a shock loss to wooden spooners, the Melbourne Renegades. Despite bowling first and keeping the Renegades to a small score, the team's out-of-form batting lineup couldn't finish the job.
All the pressure was on the Hurricanes last night with a win needed to make the BBL finals. They were looking for a good start, and Riley Meredith delivered.
A chance of a catch. Finch waits, hopes, and he's out. The Hurricanes get the early breakthrough.
As the Hurricanes bowlers once again made headway early.
Yes! Great catch, Darcy Short.
It was a Tasmanian in Bo Webster who troubled them though.
Carved away. Webster's got the pace and the gap.
He and Mackenzie Harvey steered the Renegades to post a defendable target of 151, making 54 not out himself.
Over the top at Cow Corner.
Coming off an improved batting effort against the Sixers, the Canes started well this time too.
Magnificent cricket shot from Matthew Wade.
But everything went downhill in the second half of the innings. From smooth sailing at 2 for 69, wickets tumbled. Zach Evans, the destroyer, taking 5 for 33.
Oh, massive!
The Hurricanes, 12 runs short of a win and a win short of finals.
The game just progressively slipped away from us. We just weren't proactive enough with the bat, unfortunately.
Coach Adam Griffith, disappointed by the humbling exit from the competition.
It's such a good competition. Like, it's every team has a really good list. Like, we go into a season thinking we've got a great list, and we have to because we believe that, but every other team thinks the same.
The Canes, just not good enough. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmanian News.
Tennis players from across the state are set to face off in the Tasmanian TriSeries Cup this weekend. The event will see around 100 players representing their regions, with organisers hoping it will become a regular fixture on the summer calendar.
Final training sessions underway. Ahead of this weekend's TriSeries Cup, the best players in the state set to compete in Burnie.
The idea is to get the best players from each region together to throughout Tassie to play against each other.
The event will see players of all ages from the north, northwest and south representing their regions.
It's a good chance to sort of get us playing against all the top players in the state, not just in Hobart.
We're really excited for everyone to sort of come together all as one big team. We're so used to having the same players playing for a team, but we get to all become one, so that's exciting.
With Tasmania's 3 international tournaments unable to go ahead, players say it's a great opportunity to finally get out on the court, many with high hopes for the future.
Trying to find a college in America as well as balancing Year 12. It's been a bit tough, but yeah, can't complain.
And have you found a college over there?
Yeah, so off to Texas in August.
It's now hoped the competition will become a permanent fixture on the summer sporting calendar.
There's a bit of a rivalry, but I think that's with everything, and it's all fun and games, and there's a lot of rivalry on court, but when you're off court we're all really friendly, which is what I really like.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmanian News.
Good evening. The 2,373 residents of Scottsdale experienced the warmest weather in Tasmania today, 22 degrees this afternoon. Hobart just 16, Launceston, Burnie and Devonport 21. The cool airstream kept the temperatures below average. Flinders Island 21, King Island, Strawn and Ooze 19, St Helens 18, Friendly Beaches and Grove 17, Lyawini a brisk 13 degrees. Cloud persisted over the southeast and east of the state. Convective cloud swept over the north a little bit later. Leftover cloud from a cold front sits over the Tasman Sea. High cloud builds over South Australia and the tropics remain active as well. Tomorrow the high moves south of Tasmania as the troughs continue over the mainland. So the not so common east to southeast wind pattern will develop tomorrow at 10 to 20 knots, but stronger over the southern waters with easterlies to 35 knots over the north. We have a gale warning there for waters between Sandy Cape and Stanley, a strong wind warning for remaining waters from Stanley to St Helens Point, a strong wind warning in the southwest between Southeast Cape and Low Rocky Point. Hobart expecting a top of 19 and cloudy tomorrow, Cygnet 20, a top of 21 for New Norfolk. Launceston 22 and partly cloudy, Devonport 20, 19 the high for Campbelltown. Burnie, bit of cloud about and becoming windy, 18 the top, 22 for Strawn. Bit of sun over the west, and Smithton, windy and partly cloudy. 18 the top for St Helens, maybe a late shower. Swansea 17 as well as Fingal. UV to peak at an extreme 11. On Friday, rain developing for all with some heavy falls over the north and west. Showers into Saturday but gradually easing, and on Sunday showers over the north and possibly east, partly cloudy over the south. Sunny in Perth tomorrow and 31, that same number for Adelaide. A possible shower in Melbourne. Showers also for Canberra, Sydney, Brisbane and the centres to the north. And current conditions, 16 and a bit of cloud over Hobart, Launceston fine and 20 degrees, 18 right now in Devonport. Just looking at you tonight, Lou, you've just reminded me with the footy season just around the corner, I've got to dust off my red and white suits as well. Great to see we've got another Swans fan on board.
Tell me it's not coming out again, Murph. Thank you very much for that. That's all your news for this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.